Is there something you can point to in your life, political life or in your life in the last 4 years, that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes.
Help me!
And as of today, we have cut the flow of immigration by over half. In fact, the numbers I saw most recently, illegal immigration
But if
is
it was
low.
that easy with that executive
Let me-
action, why not do it in 2022, 2023?
Because we were working with Congress and hoping that actually we could have a long-term fix to the problem instead of a short-term fix.
You couldn't have done one and both at the same time?
Well, here's the thing. Thank you, Eric, and you're absolutely right. You know it, I know it, I think most Americans know it. Price of groceries is still too high.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
What's going on, guys? We got to talk about this disastrous town hall featuring everybody's favorite McDonald's employee, Kamala Harris, who went on CNN with Anderson Cooper, and he actually pushed back pretty hard on the border, which was shocking to me because basically nobody ever pushes back on her as it relates to the border, unless you're Fox News or something, in which Kamala Harris was clearly very upset and uncomfortable during that particular interview. But that aside, she went on this town hall saying that Trump did not want to debate her again on CNN. Now, here's the thing. Donald Trump already offered her 2 additional debates, 3 debates total. One of them they did, which was the ABC debate. He also offered Fox News and NBC fake news. She refused both. Now, all of a sudden, that it's election time, she wants to try to spin the block and say, oh, whoa. Hey, I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and do that debate now. I changed my mind. Okay. Nah. Since you're getting your ass kicked in the polls, now all of a sudden you want to come out here and do every interview possible. You want to come out here and do every debate possible, town halls. I mean, you want to do everything now. What the hell happened during those first few months? You guys didn't take into consideration long-term effects, like maybe the honeymoon period would end. You didn't think about that? Like people would set in their mind that this person's a little scaredy cat and a fraud early on, and that you'd have to do a lot of work to remove that stigma. These people are stupid. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this town hall reaction.
Thank you, Anderson. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you, Eric.
So my question is concerning groceries. Grocery prices have gone up quite a bit in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And some people blame former President Trump. Some people blame President Biden. Who would you say is correct? And what would you do to bring prices down for Americans?
Thank you, Eric. And you're absolutely right. You know it, I know it, I think most Americans know it. Price of groceries is still too high. And we need to address it in a number of ways. One of my aspects of doing what we need to do to bring down the cost of living for working people and the middle class in America is to address the issue of grocery prices. Part of my background and how I come to it is probably a new approach grounded in a lot of my experiences as a former attorney general, where I took on price gouging. And part of my plan is to create a new approach that is the first time that we will have a national ban on price gouging, which is companies taking advantage of the desperation and need of the American consumer and jacking up prices without any consequence or accountability.
While grocery prices are higher, it's because of inflation. There's no price gouging. As far as any groceries that I'm aware of, there's no price gouging going on whatsoever. So it's just made up.
Let me just ask you about price gouging. I looked at your plan. You talk about going after price gougers, and I'm quoting from the plan, on essential goods during emergencies or times of crisis. I get that. How does that help, though, someone like Eric with prices that for years the grocery prices just been high?
Well, first of all, Anderson, as you know, and obviously CNN has been covering extensively what has been happening in the state of Georgia, North Carolina, Florida. It's a real issue. I was a
So now she's talking about prices when there's a hurricane that's hit. But what about normal inflation? CNN is starting to put chinks in the armor. Okay.
If you could accomplish only one major policy goal that required congressional action, what would it be and why?
Well, there's not just one. I have to be honest with you, Carol.
She don't know the answer.
There's a lot of work that needs to happen, but let's...
To close the border. How about that? What about... Isn't abortion y'all's thing? Like she don't want to commit to something?
I think that maybe part of
what a
this
stupid
point
answer.
How I think about it is we've got to get past this era
2,000 years later.
What we need to do to reinstate the freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do in a way that is good paying jobs that gives people the dignity they deserve. All of those areas I plan on working across the aisle and with Congress, including the issue of immigration, which we've got to fix.
Let me ask you, you've talked about codifying Roe v. Wade.
What it looked like happened there is Kamala didn't really know what to say. So she just word saladed her way, and then toward the end, then she started talking about women's rights and the border. But at first, it's like she ran a blank. Like you could clearly see it on her face.
Well, there's not just one. I have to be honest with you, Carol.
Considering you have been in the position of vice president for the past 4 years under the Biden administration, how can we expect you to deviate from the direction of that administration compared to your own? How can we differentiate your policy and your beliefs from that of Biden's?
That's a great question, and thank you.
Well, we already know the answer to that. You can't do that. It's called the Biden-Harris administration. You already know that she's about to have Bidenomics 2.0, except worse, it's going to be Kamalanomics, and y'all not ready for that.
Well, first of all, my administration will not be a continuation of the Biden administration. I bring to this role my own ideas and my own experience. I represent a new generation of leadership on a number of issues and believe that we have to actually take new approaches. For example, what we talked about in terms of housing. My experience that leads to that priority includes what I did to take on the big banks around the foreclosure crisis when I brought billions of dollars to homeowners that were the subject of predatory lending. I know what homeownership means to the American people than Joe Biden.
Some voters, though, might ask, you've been in the White House for 4 years, you were vice president, not the president, but why wasn't any of that done the last 4 years?
Well, there was a lot that was done, but there's more to do, Anderson. And I'm pointing out things that need to be done, that haven't been done, but need to be done. And I'm not going to shy away from saying, hey, these are still problems that we need to fix.
I want you to meet Jackson Weiss, who's a student.
Well, I mean, why would we be confident that, I guess, 4 years just wasn't enough? I mean, like, the problems got worse. Things didn't get better, they got worse. So why would people believe that they're just suddenly just going to get better with another 4 years? Now you could have the presidential notch on your belt. Like, nobody cares and nobody believes you.
Donald Trump got wind of the bill and told them, don't put it forward. He killed the bill because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. We have to have a secure border, and we have to have a comprehensive pathway for.
I think the reason why this campaign is imploding right now is because the whole strategy of screwing everything up, like admitting you're going to screw it up prior to winning the election, actually committing to screwing up, and then blaming Trump for screwing it up is just not an effective strategy.
Citizenship. And that includes requiring people, hardworking people, to earn citizenship and do it in a comprehensive, humane, and orderly manner.
Let me ask you about that. I mean, you talk about the bill that Donald Trump quashed. That was in 2024. You talk about the bill he tried to get passed in 2021. That wasn't able to get passed. 2022, 2023, there were record border crossings. Your administration took hundreds of executive actions. It didn't stem the flow. Numbers kept going up. Finally, in 2024, just in June, 3 weeks before the first presidential debate with Joe Biden, you institute executive actions that had a dramatic impact, really shut down people crossing over. Why didn't your administration do that in 2022, 2023?
First of all, you're exactly right, Anderson. And as of today, we have cut the flow of immigration by over half. In fact, the numbers I saw most recently,
in 2024,
illegal immigration.
But right before the election, you did it. Not good.
It was that easy with that executive action. Why not do it in 2022, 2023?
Because we were working with Congress and hoping that actually we could have a long-term fix to the problem instead of a short-term fix.
You couldn't have done one and both at the same time?
Well, here's the thing. We have to understand that ultimately this problem is going to be fixed through congressional action. Congress has the authority and the purse. I hate to use DC terms, but literally they write the checks. Part of the issue is in order to really fix the problem at the border. I was just at the border recently talking with border agents. You know what they talk about? Yes, they are.
She's not going to answer. You could have easily tried to do both if needed. Now, you don't even need both, but you could have tried to do both. That's the perfect question. I'm surprised nobody asked that. Like, why not just keep the executive actions in place that Trump had and try to pass a border bill? Why open the damn floodgates up? It's because these people want to cheat in elections so they can get complete control. It's very simple, guys. Like, I'm sad that we're even still talking about this.
Overwhelmed. They're working around the clock. And the other thing that they talked to me about, we need more judges down there to deal with asylum claims. We need more personnel down there to deal with processing. But Anderson, and that's where Congress kicks in.
You don't need all of that if you have a closed border. What the hell are you talking about?
In terms of dedicating the resources to actually fixing the problem. We have dealt with it such that, to your point, we now, as of today, as of our visit, have lower undocumented immigrants and illegal immigration than Trump when he left office.
That's true.
But we need a permanent solution, and that requires bipartisan work.
Do you wish you'd done those executive orders in 2022, 2023?
I think we did the right thing, but the best thing that can happen for the American people is that we have bipartisan work happening, and I pledge to you that I will work across the aisle to fix this long-standing problem.
This was a terrible answer. This lady, if you increase all of these resources, what if even more people, what if double the amount of people show up? You know what that means? That means you got to increase the resources at the border even more. The issue isn't you need more resources, just more judges, like more process. You don't need faster processing of illegal immigrants. You need to stop illegal immigration. You need to prevent it from happening, not have better ways of processing the people that come. You need to stop them from showing up in the first damn place.
American people are demanding it on both sides of the aisle, and it's time we actually put the partisan approach to this aside. We know what can work.
Well, let's talk about this compromise bill that you want to pass if you're elected. You said that's going to be a priority. It includes $650 million in funding for the border wall. That's something Republicans wanted. That was part of the compromise. Under Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project.
Look at her face.
Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall. So remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on, they didn't.
We had a bunch of soldiers. You know how much it costs to get 28,000 soldiers? We got them for free.
How much of that wall did he build? I think the last number I saw is about 2%. And then when it came time for him to do a photo op, you know where he did it?
Hundreds of miles.
In the part of the wall that President Obama built.
But you're agreeing to a bill that would earmark $650 million to continue building that wall.
I pledge that I am going to bring forward that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure our border. Yes, I am. And I'm going to work across the aisle to pass a comprehensive bill that deals with a broken immigration system. I think Jackson's question, part of it was to acknowledge that America has always had migration, but there needs to be a legal process for it. People have to earn it. And that's the point that I think is the most important point that can be made, which is we need a president who is grounded in common sense and practical outcomes.
You want to ask a question so bad, but
let's just fix it. Why is there any ideological perspective on this? Let's just fix the problem.
To fix the problem, you're doing this compromise bill. It does call for $650 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I am not afraid of good ideas where they occur.
So you don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it did not make much sense because he actually didn't do much of anything.
What?
I just talked about that wall, right? We just talked about it.
This is Annalise Keene. She's from Philadelphia.
Guys. Okay, let's move on.
What weaknesses do you bring to the table, and how do you plan to overcome them while you're in office?
That's a great question, Joe. Well, I am certainly not perfect, so let's start there.
You don't know the answer.
And I think that Perhaps a weakness, some would say, but I actually think it's a strength, is I really do value having a team of very smart people around me who bring to my decision-making process
What?
my role and responsibility as an elected leader very seriously. And I know the impact it has on so many people I may never meet. And that is why I engage and bring folks around. So I may not be quick to have the answer as soon as you ask it about a specific policy issue sometimes, because I'm going to want to research it. I'm going to want to study it. I'm kind of a nerd sometimes.
What the
Get the hell out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Okay. Get out! Get
What the hell type of answer was this? You don't know the policy? You don't know the policy answers. So you got to go research. And you're a nerd. Oh my God, this guys. You guys, my
Nigga! Help me!
I'm freaking speechless.
Confess. And some might call that a weakness, especially if you're, in an interview or just kind of,
Let me
being
ask-
asked a certain question and you're expected to have the right answer right away. But that's how I work.
I don't think I've ever heard the former president admit a mistake. A lot of politicians don't. Is there something you can point to in your life, political life, or in your life in the last 4 years that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes.
Wow. Man, she getting
They
cooked.
range from, if you've ever parented a child, you make lots of mistakes too. In my role as vice president, I mean, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues, and I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question.
Kamala, what the hell was that?
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
This is, she's getting cooked. CNN is surprisingly cooking Kamala Harris.
Here in Delco, we pride ourselves on being authentic, and much of what we have seen, much of what you've been saying with regard to issues like law and order and fracking reflect a more centrist view than what people are used to hearing from Kamala Harris, leaving some voters to wonder about the authenticity of your current, more moderate positions. Can you talk a little bit about how your positions have shifted and why?
Sure, and thank you. So first of all, on fracking, I've been very clear. We kind of dispensed with this in 2020. I am not going to ban fracking. I did not as vice president.
Just to be clear, though, what he's referring to, and you point out, too, when you were running for vice president in 2020, you were not talking about banning fracking, but...
No, Anderson, I pledged that I would not ban fracking.
Right, I know. You said you would not ban fracking.
Correct.
You had said in the 2019 town hall, there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. In 2017, you talked about Medicare for all. You talked about 2019, you raised a hand in debate about if border crossings should be decriminalized. Are all of those issues, which those are not your positions now, are all those issues that you're saying through consensus and getting stuff done you have evolved on?
The work that I have done that has been about recognizing the importance of dealing with border security, that has never changed. As I said, I have prosecuted transnational criminal organizations. That I did for years before I ever ran in 2019.
I mean, you did raise your hand saying in a debate when asked if border crossing should be decriminalized, but obviously that is not your position.
I never intended, nor will I ever allow America to have a border that is not secure. I believe we need to deal with illegal immigration. There needs to be consequences, which is why part of my...
If it's not criminal, then what would the consequence be? I mean, what are you going to give them a fine? I mean, like plenty of people across the border, and you're literally giving them money and hotels and food and clothes and healthcare, attorneys. I mean, these people have literally everything. So if there's no penalty and there's rewards, then guys, make it make sense.
Plan that I have outlined, and again, please go to kamalaharris.com. Sorry to throw a website on you, but why not?
On fracking, you said you're clear you would not ban it as president.
No, I would not ban it as president.
Right, I know you're clear on that. Do you think it is bad for the environment, though?
I think that we have proven that we can invest in a clean energy economy. We can mitigate greenhouse gas emissions. We can work on and sustaining what we need to do to protect this beautiful earth of ours and not ban fracking.
Guys, I don't think that these appearances are helping Kamala Harris at all. She has terrible answers for everything that's important to Americans, be it from the economy, be it illegal immigration, her flip-flopping. Like, she really has no good answers. As it relates to the border, Cooper cooked the hell out of her on this. That fool was cooking with all kinds of freaking Crisco and oils and thyme and sage and cayenne pepper. Okay, he got the roux going. He got some butter. Bust out some of that Zatarans, okay, because we got some fried Kamala. Okay, this was not good. Like, why even show up? She needs to practice her answers more, because there's so many things that she screwed up. Like the one thing that she was gonna focus on, like she should have just said women's rights. Okay, like Kamala Harris is so dumb. She didn't even think of that until later on in her answering the question. Then it's like suddenly she started thinking about what to say, and then she thought about the border crisis. I mean, for me, the border will be number one thing, but for a lot of women, it might be women's rights, because they managed to successfully brainwash so many Americans into thinking that the buck stops with abortion rights. Then you got the flip-flopping question, the pastor, you know, the question about her faith. But let me know what you guys think. Did you think she had great answers, or was she just lying her ass off as usual? I can't see town halls like this giving her a helping hand whatsoever, but that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate y'all watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. I'm out.
They took the entire, it was a long, stupid, she didn't know where the hell she was going. Does she drink? Is she on drugs? I don't know. I have no idea.